What's up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. It's Denise Salcedo. I hope you guys are all ready to talk about some wrestling because we have so much to get into here tonight. But first of all, welcome to episode 27 of Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm Denise Salcedo. It is the March 31st edition, and it is crazy because as I think about it, this is going to be one of the last shows, really, almost one of the last shows, where we're going to be recapping both AEW and NXT in one show, which, to be honest, guys, today was seriously a really nice reminder that that's going to happen because there was so much that went down on both shows here tonight where I had to do a lot of pausing, a lot of rewinding, a lot of that I completely fell behind and was behind. Like once it was like 20 minutes prior to the show, I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. But I made it after all, got to watch everything. And here I am ready to talk about all of it. But before I get started, I do want to remind you all, whether you're listening to the live stream or whether you're listening to the audio version of this, please do not forget to head on over to youtube.com, search up F4W online and make sure that you subscribe. There is tons of awesome content for you all to check out here. And we're going to go ahead and get started. But before I do that, I just want to let you all know, for those of you who are new to this, FYI, if you send in a super chat, just know that I get to keep 100% of the proceeds right after YouTube takes their cut. So if you want me to read your question or any sort of comments that you may have either on AEW or on the NXT side, feel free to send in a super chat. Once again, they really do help me out, keep me fed, etc. And F4W is really kind to let me keep the proceeds after YouTube takes their cut. And we have plenty of comments here today because there was a lot to talk about. So first of all, heading into AEW Dynamite, I think we all knew that it was going to be a pretty solid show. They had a lot announced prior to the show. So we knew heading into it, there was going to be a lot to look forward to. On the NXT side of things, next week, we got WrestleMania weekend coming up. We have NXT Takeover, Stand and Deliver. So there is going to be so much to talk about there. And so heading into that show, I knew that we were going to have a lot to go into on that. But I kind of want to hear what your guys' thoughts were on both AEW and NXT overall before we kick into everything and talk about everything overall. So go ahead and send them in. But first of all, I'll start reading a comment. This one is from Josh Dupuis, who says, "This is my first time watching. Both shows were good." So first of all, welcome, Josh. I always welcome new viewers. This is a very interactive show, so I'm going to read as many comments as I possibly can. So we will do that here today. We have a comment from Bloody Blues who says, "Denise, it's been a nice routine seeing your smiling face after a great night of wrestling. Wouldn't want to have it any other way. Keep up the good work." Thank you so much to Bloody Blues. And I don't like how your guys' chats are coming up, so give me a second. There you guys go. All right, so I switched this so we can actually see everybody's comments nice and big on the screen. Ryan says, "Ooh, fancy new graphics. I didn't like those, so I'm going back to these ones. I think these ones are a lot better." For those who are listening on the audio version are probably, what the hell is she talking about? I like the comments to come out nice and big on the screen. We have a comment from R. Riggs who says, "They started a number of new storylines and moved others forward, but there were times I thought it was slightly convoluted." I'm assuming you're talking about AEW here, R. Riggs. We'll get into that because I did think that today was a solid episode of AEW Dynamite. I thought there was a lot of really good stuff that occurred on the show. There's definitely more to talk about on the AEW side of things than the NXT side of things. So I do feel like we're going to have more to talk about with AEW. And kicking things off, I might as well go ahead and get started because we had Christian Cage versus Frankie Kazarian in what was Christian Cage's first singles match back in 7 years, guys. 7 years. So obviously, Christian Cage was a very big topic since, obviously even before he came into AEW, just because everybody was talking about who the mystery signee was going to be heading into AEW. Then it's revealed that it's Christian Cage. And now he's finally, having this match. And so really all eyes are on him. people are going to be asking questions. People are going to be wondering, can this guy still go? Was this guy worth the signing? At the end of the day, people are going to ask themselves those questions. And after today's performance, I kind of want to get your thoughts on what you think about what you guys thought about this match, how you felt about Christian Cage's performance, etc. Because I'll kick things off. Truthfully, I did think that this was a pretty good match. I thought that this match really delivered. They gave it a very good, respectable amount of time that it really first of all, they let Frankie Kazarian dominate a lot of this match, which I didn't necessarily mind completely because obviously part of the story that they're telling here is Christian Cage. He's coming back. He's obviously going to have some ring rust. He's not going to be coming back and, being, not having to struggle. He's going to struggle a little bit. So you're going to see that in the storytelling of this match. But I'll kind of just start off by saying that I really liked the pace in which these guys worked this match. The pace in which both Frankie Kazarian and Christian Cage worked this match was really good because they were sort of, trying to show that Christian Cage can still go, that he can work these long matches, that he's not just some old guy, just some other old guy that was, brought in or whatever. So I like the fact that they did that. I thought that he looked in great shape. One of the things that everybody was talking about or pointing out was the fact that Christian Cage has some nice looking abs. And the reason why I got to point that out is because he does. And they look good. He looks healthy. He looks a healthy, strong is what I'm trying to get at here. So I did like everything that Christian Cage brought to this match. I do have, I think the only thing that could have probably been a little bit better was I thought that Kazarian could have worked this match a lot differently because to me, he kind of worked this match more like he was a heel on WWE, more of that WWE heel stylish type of match is how I felt that he was working this. So I would have preferred maybe for him to work more of a normal match instead of that WWE heel type of match. But other than that, I did think that this match was perfectly fine. I mean, based on what I put out there on Twitter, I saw a lot of people basically saying that they loved the match, that they liked it, that it was a great start to getting Christian Cage, back to, we're once again talking about him in wrestling in general. Now, I do have to say, if this match was to get Christian ready for somebody like Kenny Omega, I don't necessarily think that it hit the actual mark. However, if this match is one of the first matches into a long story of Christian getting back, of a storytelling where Christian is working his way back to getting to the top, this was an excellent start. Again, I think what made this match really good and what it made people stand out to in people's minds was really the fact that they gave it a respectable amount of time and that they really, really extended this match out. We did have a couple of near falls, which obviously makes the match a little bit more exciting. I did really like the flex capacitor. I thought that was really good, except that it did take a little too long to set up. But either way, Christian got the win. Good for him. I think this was a pretty solid match and a pretty solid opener for the show. So let's see what you guys all thought here. First of all, thank you so much to Daniel Zambrano for sending in a super chat. You didn't send in a comment, but I still appreciate you sending in the super chat. I truly appreciate that. So let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, here we go. This one's from Daniel. And he says, the opener was excellent, told a great story, showed the new style for Christian as a grizzled vet, grinding it out and thinking around his opponents. The build to the end was stellar. Yeah, I think that this match kept progressively getting better throughout. So I do have to agree with Daniel on this one. We have a comment from Tunol who says that the match was good and met the expectations of what the type of match they should be having. However, I had raised the expectations of the match in my mind, so it didn't live up to them, my own fault. I didn't have high expectations for this match, really, because obviously it's Christian's match back, but he's also in the ring with Frankie Kazarian, who obviously, his style has changed a little bit. Obviously with age, that's just how it happens, right? With time and whatnot. So that's why I think I was a little surprised at how much offense and how much they gave Frankie Kazarian in this match, because It was a lot. It was a lot for him, I think. I really do think so. But let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from Jack the Amazing One who asks, Denise, do you think Christian Cage will be in the world title picture in the coming months? Maybe after Hangman eventually defeats Omega? Well, see, that's the thing, is that obviously it's something that's been talked about. He had that stare down with Kenny Omega. He had, I think it was that promo or that interview that he did with Dasha, where he mentioned that obviously he said that he was going to outwork everybody and basically work his way to getting to that Kenny Omega title picture. So I feel like they wouldn't necessarily mention it so many times if that wasn't the direction that they were eventually heading in. Now, obviously, it's too soon. He still needs to get more wins. He still needs to get, keep having matches like this, really, with different guys. And I think eventually down the line, we might have different opinions as to whether or not, because I know a couple of weeks ago, I thought, okay, when they did the face-off, the Christian Kenny Omega stare down, I thought, okay, it's definitely too soon for this. Definitely too soon. And so now I feel like they're listening to the people and they're going a different direction, as in they're not hot-shotting Christian right away into that world title picture, and instead are letting him get some wins, built up the urge from the fans to want to see him in that title picture and actually feel like he's earned it. So I think that's what I want to say about that. We have a comment from Brandon who says, I trust that AEW will do a nice slow build of Christian to eventually challenge for the title. And that's how it should be, really. I think that would be the proper way to go about things, really the proper way. And let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from Corey who says, I think they wanted to show Christian as that workaholic. I feel Christian may be a slow build to the title as he proves himself. Exactly. So I feel like we're all sort of on the same page when it comes to Christian. We all want that like slow build where he's constantly gaining those wins, earns the respect, because I think he already has the respect from the fans, but just earns that world title picture slot, essentially. That's where I'm trying to get at here. So overall, I really do feel that everyone's on the same page when it comes to Christian Cage's first single match in 7 years, his first, official match on AEW. So for a lot of firsts, I think for the most part, everybody here is giving this a thumbs up. I don't think there's anybody here who's really had anything negative, or at least I haven't seen any sort of negativity on social media regarding this. So after this, we had you know what? There was a theme tonight on more so on the NXT side of things, but just overall, because, sometimes, watching both shows, things get clustered into one for me. But I think one of the themes for tonight was really that we saw a lot of great promo packages, like a lot of really good stuff. And one of the first ones that we saw for the night was on AEW with Darby essentially putting together this it was just so good. Okay, so this is what it was. This is like a black and white video. You have like this Matt Hardy cutout of Matt Hardy. You have Sting throwing money. I mean, this kind of looked like a music video, but this was really cool. Basically, you have Darby on voiceover basically saying that Matt's body is breaking down, that Money Matt was based off of his insecurities, and that he tries to buy everybody's respect, but that he cannot buy his respects. He says, and I quote, your money doesn't mean shit to me. And then there's like this closing image where you see in graffiti, money changes everything, something along those lines. And I thought that this was pretty damn cool. I want to see more stuff like this. Like, this really got me hyped. I thought that the voiceover was cool. Like, everything that Darby said in this, like, sounded pretty awesome. The music was fantastic, and just like the black and white and the way that it was shot and the way that it was edited really looked like this very like grungy alternative type of thing that definitely fits Darby Allin in this. So I loved this promo package. And yeah, I think a lot of people like Neil Pearson, who says that the Darby promo package was terrific. I really do think so as well. And R. Riggs, who also points out that Darby always has some good promos. He really does. But this one was more of like just overall the entire packaging of it, I thought was what made it that much more spectacular, really. Alrighty, so after this, heading into more promos. So after this, we had another promo package from Jade Cargill. And so last week she had one too, which I thought was pretty good. I remember coming on here and like talking about how much I liked it. So we have another one here today. This one wasn't as good as the one the week before, but it was still okay. The only thing that I do have to say, and I said this last week, but I'm going to reiterate it once again this week, is that really we need to see Jade wrestle more on Dynamite. We really, really do need to see it. I think they can still do these like promo videos to hype her up, all of that, right? But they do need to have her wrestle on Dynamite more. I think that they should use the same formula that they did with Ty Conti, where, you know, Jade is a stronger athlete. Obviously, if you're going to compare her against Ty Conti, she's a stronger athlete, right? So, and if you put her on shows like Dark and Dark Elevation each and every single week, she's going to continue to improve so much, similar to Ty Conti. And you could also use the video packages to continue hyping her up, like I just said, and just have her wrestle more occasionally on Dynamite. So I do think that consistently having her only do promos and have these promo packages eventually is going to get a little, you know, just repetitive. And for her to just continue improving, she just needs to continue having more matches. So those are my thoughts on the Jade Cargill situation, which is pretty much like the last thing I said last week. But it was just, I kind of had a little hope that we might continue to see her work a little bit more on the show. So we didn't tonight, so there you go on that. But let's see what else we have here. Raymond suggests he would actually like to see Jade on an undefeated streak. Given that she has such an athletic build and she looks fantastic, she would be somebody I think that would be somebody that I would definitely believe to be in an undefeated streak. So I do like that. Ryan T says she'd be a good person to highlight on 2 dark shows in squashes. Sure. D-Train Rightmaker says, I think she needs to wrestle on the lower shows, Elevation or Dark. Have her beat lesser talent. Exactly. Keep that going. Labor Day says that she's still green and they should run her on Dark a lot more. Yeah. And it's like, exactly. There's so much potential there. Like I said, she's a great athlete. Her promos keep getting better and better. That the ones that we've been seeing each and every single week, they've been getting better. Her presence is better. Obviously, you look at her and you think, okay, she's a star. She has the total package. She's got the look. So now we just need to sharpen those skills. And you want to have that because right now, women's wrestling has gotten to a certain point where all across the board, people have high expectations. And so you can't necessarily put somebody out there that is subpar because you will get people, you know, criticizing and, you know, just being very negative, and you do not want that. So I think that obviously just having her continue sharpen her skills is the way to necessarily have her eventually get to the top of the women's roster and keep that, you know, just keep the momentum that overall women's wrestling has been building across the board. We have a comment from Mark who suggests they need to have Jade on Dark and Elevation. She can beat the girls there and it builds her without hurting the signed talent. No reason she can't squash girls like Viperous or Jasmine. Exactly. 100% agree with this. So I feel like, I honestly feel like we're all on the same page with this one. Really, I do. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the next thing that I want to discuss. And I do want to get your comments on this because there is kind of a lot to go into. I think that this next QT Marshall versus Cody Rhodes, to be honest, was a little bit of, I said last week I wasn't interested in it, right? This week I kind of felt like there was so much happening here. And I think someone earlier mentioned a little bit of that, too much convolution on the show. I would say that this is probably somewhere along the lines of where I actually agree with that statement. But either way, so we have this match, this exhibition match. And for the most part, again, I really was not interested in this. So I kind of went in this with a different lens. But one of the things that I did like about this was Cody essentially not wanting to hurt QT with the figure 4. I thought that was fine in the sense of the story, considering that it's an exhibition match, etc. Now, the ending of this is really what we do have to discuss because QT punches Arn in the face and essentially walks out and he leaves. And everybody's looking at him like, what the hell? what the hell did you just do? And he kind of has his arms up in the air, kind of thinking like, oh man, what did I do? But at the same time, he's not looking completely convinced that he's feeling regret about what he just did. So then afterwards, while they're doing that, they're, looking at him like, what the hell? From behind, you have an attack from behind. We have Anthony Ogogo. We have Nick Comoroto, and Aaron Solau. I hope I didn't mess up that name. But anyway, so we have this attack, and essentially now we have this new thing with QT and all these guys, and commentary is really pushing the fact that QT Marshall is basically like he brainwashed these students and he brainwashed them against Cody, etc. So we have a lot of stuff happen after this. And so the highlights of this is QT ends up pile driving Dustin on the steel steps and ends up busting him open. I thought that was a really great visual, especially with QT kind of standing on top of the steel steps, looking like just like a mad, like he's pissed. I really did like it. I will say this, it brought a whole lot more interest to QT Marshall, more interest than I had the week prior. And then we had Anthony Ogogo punch Cody right in the stomach. They then drag him to that exact steel step where we just saw Dustin go through there, and QT Marshall, so he has his foot on Cody's head as Cody's head is on top of the steps, and he's about to get the chair and he's about to smack him on the head. So you're thinking, oh my God, this is going to be the end for Cody, whatever, right? But then Red Velvet comes out. Red Velvet essentially comes out and she begs him like, don't do this. He's your friend, etc. He doesn't do it. And commentary puts over, or JR says, what a brave young lady. And so that ends that there. But I kind of want to get your thoughts on all of this. How do you guys feel? I mean, based on last week, this was completely sprung on us. A lot of people, me really, I was not interested in this. I think this week I'm a lot more interested in this. I think considering what we saw, it does feel a little new, especially for QT Marshall and the guys involved. It does feel new, but I don't know if I'm going to be I don't know how interested I'm going to be the following weeks. So let's see what else you guys are saying here. All right. Let's see. Thank you so much to Neil Pearson, who corrected my pronunciation of solo. I said Solao, or did I say Solao? I don't remember what I said. All right, whatever. Okay, let's move on. Let's see what we have here. What did you guys think about this? So let's see. We have a comment from King Snakes who says, I'd seriously be more interested in QT explaining why he was cheating on his wife with Ellie than his jobber cult. How do they keep this from becoming retribution light? See, and like that's one of the things that obviously everybody was talking about the whole Allie thing last week with the whole wife thing and all of that. But this week, it doesn't feel like a retribution light per se. I wouldn't go that far on it, but it also isn't coming across like the pinnacle, something like that. It isn't coming across like that. But okay, let's see what else you are saying. Labor Day says, everything Cody related is terrible since MJF turned on him. I said it last week, but Cody has go away heat. All right, so not a fan of Cody here. I like Cody. I think that it depends on what he's doing, whether or not I'm interested. So I wasn't interested, and you guys already know this, in the Jade Cargill, Shaq, Red Velvet thing. So this time, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily that completely interested, but it is a lot better than what we were working with last time. So I don't think it's completely terrible. And let's see. Okay, so we have a couple people I think that are not liking this, and half the chat is liking this. I'm trying to decipher here how we feel about it as a whole, but I think there's some people that some are liking it, some are not here. All right, I don't even know where to go from here, guys, because it really does feel like some people are just not liking this, and then really others are. Okay, this one's from R. Riggs. He says, I really think Cody needs to go away for a good 6 months, and I might be happy to see him return. What? I didn't think that people felt this way about Cody at the moment, so this is kind of surprising me. Ryan T says, it's weird to have a feud where we know so few of the people. It requires so much introduction to too many faces for any to be as effective as they could be. And then maybe also because I think we do have a lot of stables. We do have a lot of that going on. And that's obviously been a criticism that I have been seeing a lot on social media in regards to AEW. So I do get what you guys mean by that. And let's see. We have a comment from B Mactastic who says, Cutie is doing a bit better, but not selling toughness himself. Interesting. Camarado looks the best and interested in Ogogo to see how he does. Yeah, so I think that obviously with him, I do think that, you know, working with QT Marshall, with Anthony, working with QT Marshall is definitely going to help him. Obviously, that's what he's there for. Like Anthony Ogogo isn't ready just yet, but obviously being there associated with QT, that is what QT is there for. That's what he's there to help with. So, but I do get what you guys are saying. Like, I feel like it's just a lot of the same things. But okay, here we go. We have a comment from Chaz Shaw who says the Cody and QT segment was great. Okay, see, this is what I'm curious about though. For those of you who thought that it was great, why did you think it was great? Because so far all I have is people talking about why they didn't like this. But I want to know the people that did like this, why they like this. So that's, I think, where I'm trying to get at though. And Josh also points out, seriously though, I didn't know half of those guys helping QT. Yeah, I feel you on that one there. I do feel you on that. We did have somewhat of new faces there. Okay, so, and this one is from Chaz. This is Chaz who did like this. And Chaz says, I think we're building to a Cody heel turn eventually. Thought they ever since MJF turned said he's the only one that sees his true self. Okay, I see where you're getting at, making a connection with the whole MJF thing. Okay, Neil Pearson says Cutie is a great worker. Cody is a total package. I think it's great to give the shine to the new guys. I agree with that. I really do agree with that. Obviously, giving the shine to new guys is never gonna hurt anybody. But oh my gosh, you guys' comments are just killing me right now. Some of these are really funny. And this is from Bob, who says, people who watch Dark and Elevation know who everyone is. Now, here's the thing, though. Not everybody watches Dark and Elevation. I can tell you, I don't watch Dark and Elevation each and every single week. And I admit that because there's so much to watch. And I don't blame people if they're not going to go in and watch Dark and Elevation every week. Why? Because there's so much going on. So, yeah, the people that obviously do watch Dark and Elevation on, a weekly basis religiously are going to be more aware of, certain people that are coming in. So yeah. Okay. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on. This was pretty interesting conversation though. All right. So after this, all right, this is another interesting one. So Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, they cut a promo and I liked this. I kind of really wasn't feeling the idea of Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky as a tag team because I do think that we still haven't seen the full potential for Scorpio Sky. And Scorpio Sky is one of those guys that every time he's in the ring, I think to myself, why hasn't he gotten to that next level? Like he's always been almost there, right? And obviously this ties into that promo that they cut here tonight, where they basically say that AEW has overlooked them. And this makes a lot more sense for Scorpio Sky though, because Scorpio Sky has been there a lot longer than Ethan Page, but regardless, I'll buy it. So they say AEW has overlooked them, saying that they're tired of having to share the spotlight with people that aren't necessarily at their level, and says that they're not waiting, they're not asking, and they will take what they want starting on Monday. And they do announce that they're going to have that AEW dark match against the Seidel brothers. So I like the idea of them being a tag team. I'm curious as to how in-ring wise, what it's going to be like, what it's going to look like, etc. But I do kind of feel like I would have liked to see, I think because Scorpio Sky, like I said, has always almost been there, I would like to see him on his own as a single star, but it seems like if they were going to go that direction, they would have done it and a lot stronger back in the day. So here we go. What did you guys think about this? This one is from Ryan T, who says, Sky Page feels like a combo of guys He says Sky Page feels like a combo of guys they want to do something big with, but don't have room for. But also with so many tag teams, is that where they can be best used? And Ryan, we really do bring up multiple good points here, because here's the thing about AEW is that they are stacked with a lot of talent, and a lot of talent that, aside from cheering on the sidelines, isn't being seen constantly on Dynamite, okay? And so a lot of people are just sort of floating under the radar, aren't getting properly utilized. And same thing with the tag teams. So many tag teams. I mean, look at how many times I was on here in the past several weeks talking about, the Lucha Brothers not getting a real opportunity. I was talking about Proud and Powerful not getting an opportunity. And there's so many times where I feel like we've had this conversation, whether it be about a single star or a tag team or whatever, right? And so it kind of just, I agree with you here. Like, what's going to happen? Maybe them being in a tag team is going to help them. It might help them. Their chances might be a lot better than if they were single stars. So I feel like it might be a lot better, but I do agree with you. Okay. All right, guys. And let's see what else we have here. Okay, this one is from Matt Walfos. It says, I have no problem with Paige and Sky. Not a permanent thing, not a tag team situation, just handshake agreement to get some wins and exposure. Okay. And Raymond also says that he can totally get behind this. Tanil says that they're not hyped for the Paige and Sky either. Promo is very good, but feels like another pairing group. Not sure how they will stand out. Yeah, I do. I always have that thing, though. I like tag teams that aren't necessarily, that they don't feel like they were just thrown together. So I do agree with you on that. Matt also says, you know what irks me? Lance Archer needs exposure. He gets none. He comes out 2 weeks in a row saying he wants a TNT title shot. Darby doesn't respond. Lance disappears. I'm reading this because this is true. And we do see that happen a lot. Like, we'll see guys coming out 1, 2, 3 weeks, and the next thing you know, they're like gone and forgotten about. But at the same time, you're like, oh, now we're seeing this guy. All right, then he gets his couple of weeks in and then gone, forgotten about. So that is somewhat of a trend that we do sort of see here. Okay, so moving on. After this, we had a Jon Moxley promo really quickly. He's just basically talking about all the reasons that he's pissed off. Perfectly well. This goes into the match with Cesar Bononi, and basically, I kind of felt the same way about this match that I felt about Cesar's match last week with Hangman Page, where honestly, Moxley getting a win over Cesar is perfectly great because they give Cesar enough during this match that you take him seriously. He doesn't necessarily come across as a jobber. Even though he's losing to these guys, he's not coming across as a jobber. He looks impressive. They give him enough offense during these matches. So I do think that, he's getting featured on television. Great. He looks great. And he's being put in matches with guys that are at another level. So I do like this. And I do like this for, to get wins for guys like Jon Moxley, Hangman Page. Cesar is a great opponent to do that with. So, honestly, similar situation, but in the end, we had Moxley winning after he put the sleeper on Cesar Bononi. So good stuff here. I really did. For the most part, I did enjoy this match. After this, we had the Team Taz promo. And really, all I want to say here is I think we need to see these guys in action a whole lot more than what we do. I know we get it sporadically, but really I'm tired of seeing the same. This promo to me wasn't anything different from what we saw last week. To me, it felt very, very similar. And that's been a constant criticism, I think, that kind of stopped for a while where people were like, all right, we're seeing the exact same things with Team Taz. Then it kind of stopped for a while, but now I feel like we're going right back to that. And so I'm not really all that fond with what they've been doing with Team Taz as of like this week, really, because I just do think that they need to have more matches and they just need to not do the same promos over and over again. Like last week, Taz comes out and basically says that they're good, they're fine, okay, and then again this week, we're good, we're fine. We all know that that's not going to happen, right? But okay, so that's pretty much that promo here. And I do need to read this comment because I agree with this person. This one is from Roberto C. Rodriguez. It says, Ricky Starks is supposed to be televised. Put this guy on more. Really? I really do agree with this. D-Train says Team Taz should be beating up people, not talking. Exactly. Especially because, remember the whole hoodlums thing that they were doing with Sting and Darby? We're hoodlums, you're hoodlums, whatever. Okay, so when I look at Team Taz and when I think about Team Taz, I think about guys that just don't give a damn, that they're going to do what they want. But really, all that they've been doing is coming out and saying the exact same thing. And I love Taz's promos. I love the promos that they've been cutting, but not the same ones over and over again. And that's what we saw last week, and that's what we saw this week. Like this week, we could have easily gone without this. So that, and I don't like to say that. I don't like to say, oh, we could have gone without this. I'm not a fan of saying stuff like that, but that's how I feel about that. And okay, anything else here? All right, cool. We're going to go ahead and move on though and quick reminder, guys, FYI, if you have a comment, you have a statement, you're like, I really need Denise to read this, send it in a super chat. Once again, F4W does allow me to keep 100% of the proceeds or the money that we make from the super chats from my shows after YouTube takes their cut. So I get whatever is left after YouTube takes their cut. So feel free to send in a super chat. I do read non-super chat comments too, but the super chats do help out. All right, cool. So let's move on. So after this, this was my favorite part of AEW Dynamite, guys. Here we go. This was my favorite part. And this was MJF's gift to the Pinnacle. It ended up being a gift to all of us. So they're backstage. They're in their locker room, the former Inner Circle locker room, and MJF introduces their brand new fashion stylist, and I'm thinking, this is fantastic. This is great. Okay, the guy has his little like binder with the fabrics, and I thought that was pretty damn hilarious. And then he says that their locker room is a dump and that he got them an interior designer. And I'm thinking, yes, I want to see what the interior designer is gonna do with this dump. And then, so he's talking about this, right? He opens the door to the bathroom and the Inner Circle is just standing there. And this was such a fantastic visual. The Inner Circle just standing there all pissed, and MJF just closes the door like he's hiding a secret. And he's like, get out, everybody, get out. But obviously the Inner Circle are pissed. They're pissed off. They want some revenge. And they just start attacking the Pinnacle. And this turns into a full brawl. They go not just in the locker room, but they go backstage. They go outdoors. And there was some good stuff. I mean, we saw Jake Hager put Wardlow through a massage table. It was just non-stop brawling in the back. And I like these types of brawls because they look cool. And we kind of got a little tour of the place. I really love this. In the end, we saw Jericho put MJF through the Pepsi vending machine. And that part looks sick. He then pours champagne all over MJF's back. And then he says, this is our dressing room, bitch. And they drag out MJF. And then they put their own logo on the nameplate that he used to say the Pinnacle. And I was kind of pissed off though. I was kind of pissed because I was like, great, we're not going to see what the interior designer was going to do with that locker room. I wanted to see what was going to happen. But honestly though, this was really, really good. I'm looking forward to what they're doing with the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. Like this feels good. I think for a while I was getting bored already of the Inner Circle. I really was. I think there were a couple of weeks where I was like, all right, cool, whatever. But now they sort of feel like that little tiny break that we got, I think really did help. And so far, based on what we've been seeing from the Pinnacle, and you know what I thought too? I thought heading into this that this was just going to be like a promo, that they were going to do like a long segment, nothing was going to come out of it. But the fact that this ended up leading into this brawl, I think really made it so much better, so much more entertaining, and therefore really became one of my favorite parts of the night. Like when I think about both shows tonight as a whole, this is one of the things that immediately pops into my head, immediately goes into my mind. So let's see what else we have here. And all right, what did you all think about this? Raymond says, Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle for the first blood and guts match. Bro, let's do it. I think, and obviously they're most likely heading in that direction, but we don't know that for sure just yet. So I'm going to go with, I agree with this statement. Philly Heathen says that this was awesome. Exactly. Really, really is awesome. And I didn't notice this. Labor Day says that Jericho looks so good. He looked pissed. I like that. And like when he shoved MJF into that vending machine, it didn't look like lame or anything. It looked badass. It really, really did. Forsaken Productions wants to know, how long was Jericho co-standing silently in the bathroom? Yeah, I hope nobody went into that bathroom and stank it up right before. Matt's Waffles points out that Jericho and the boys were probably there all morning. And Anton wants to know why we're in a circle waiting in the bathroom. To kick their butts. That's where you hide. You're ready to jump someone. You hide in the closet. You hide in the bathroom. You hide under the bed. I don't know where you hide. Michael says, AEW did a great job reintroducing the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle went from being a simple, good comedy act to more serious faction that wants blood. Can't wait for blood and guts. Exactly. Like, even just like the little things that they were doing, it was more of like the presentation of like how they shot that. And then there was that graphic that they showed afterwards, when they were saying that the Inner Circle was going to be making their return next week. Even just that simple graphic with all like I think it was like red, like dark graphic, even that, like just little things like that really added to this, like you said, more of a serious faction instead of more of the comedy act type of stuff. So I do agree with this. And then B has somewhat of similar idea that I had earlier. Stadium Stampede. Yeah, I love the Stadium Stampede. People say they didn't like the Stadium Stampede. Nah, I love the Stadium Stampede, but I do think we're going to see the blood and guts instead. But still, if they were to announce it, I'd be pretty darn happy. Sheba021 says, I'm all for a brutal war between two major heel factions. Exactly. I'm there in it too. Alrighty, guys, there you go. So good stuff on that. Again, one of my favorite portions of the night. After this, we had Alex Marvez interviewing the Young Bucks. But what we need to talk about here is that slap from Don Callis to Matt Jackson. Dude, everything Don Callis does is hella entertaining. Everything. And I was listening to the promo as I was watching NXT. So like I was listening to it. I wasn't seeing it, but I was watching because I was watching NXT and listening to the promo. Yeah, guys, watching two shows, it gets complicated. You have to make decisions. And then all of a sudden, so I'm hearing Don Callis basically talk about how he broke Kenny, how the Young Bucks broke Kenny Omega's heart, and kind of reiterates what Kenny Omega said last week about how he didn't necessarily just pick AEW. He picked the Young Bucks because of what they were going to do with AEW and all of that. And he starts telling Matt, like, you're cold, you're dead inside, this and that. And Matt's kind of like, you know, looking like very serious, like he's really pondering everything that Don Callis is saying. And then out of nowhere, Don Callis just slaps him across the face, and I reacted. This seriously got a big reaction out of me. Like, I know it's just a slap, whatever, but I think the way that it kind of built to the slap, and because of the way Don Callis did it, it really did get an honest to God reaction out of me. So I really, really liked all of this that they did here back here. Good stuff here. And then afterwards, oh man, dude, we have so much. All right. After this, we had the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. So let me just tell you this right off the bat. Anytime the Lucha Brothers are in action, I'm happy, right? Anytime you add Laredo Kid to that, I'm even hella happier, all right? I am such a mark for the Lucha Brothers on Laredo Kid. I don't care if anyone makes fun of me for saying that. Like, seriously, they're just so gosh darn entertaining. And the way that they worked this match with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, it was just really, really fun. The counterbalance, obviously the Good Brothers are bringing the power, and then you see the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid just going everywhere. I mean, this match kicked off fast. Within seconds, we were seeing Phoenix do a moonsault onto all the guys on the stage, and we just saw so much back and forth action at such a fun pace that this was fun. This was the match that you expected, and it was entertaining. Laredo Kid did a Tope Suicida, though, that did look really insane, like the way that he landed. But it looked awesome, but it also looked insane. Kenny and the Good Brothers won this match We all knew they were going to win this match. That's perfectly fine. But they gave us a really, really action-packed match, which I really, really, truly enjoyed here. We have a comment from Fifth Generation Carney Joseph with it, who says, Laredo Kid's suicide dive was unbelievably awesome. It was, dude. And I still need to, that's one of the things that I was like, I need to go back and rewatch a clip of that. That's something I'd want to see a clip of again. After the match, we had Moxley and the Young Bucks come out, stare down Kenny and the Good Brothers, and eventually running them off the ring. So good stuff here. Let's skip into, so we did have Nyla Rose and Bunny defeating Hikaru Shida and Ty Conti. Decent match. Okay, but I want to jump into Arcade Anarchy, because they did so much during this match, guys. I'm curious, what did you guys think about the Arcade Anarchy match? I really wasn't sure what to expect from this match, which honestly, it was in the name, Anarchy, so expect anarchy or whatever, but I really didn't know what to expect from this match. And I went into this, and I'll be real with you guys, with very, very low expectations. There wasn't something where I thought, oh, I'm really looking forward to this match. This wasn't one of the matches that I was really looking forward to tonight. I really wasn't. I just thought, okay, it's there. But afterwards, how I felt about it was much more differently than I did getting into this. Now, obviously, I've been talking about how I haven't really liked this whole storyline, with Miro and Kip and Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. Hasn't necessarily been the best or the hottest, but for the most part, this Arcade Anarchy match really made it a sort of worth it. So, I mean, they did so much. We saw Miro smashing Cassidy, on a video game. We saw Miro suplexing Chuck Taylor through a barricade, which looks sick. We saw Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy hitting Miro with the trash can covers and kendo sticks, just like nonstop. That looked pretty sick. We saw Kip do a power bomb on Chuck Taylor onto a bunch of Legos that came out of a teddy bear. And let's face it, Legos are like the real life thumbtacks, but like for us regular people. We also had the return of Chris Statlander. She came back during this match. She was gone due to an knee injury, and very happy to see her back, because honestly, she's just going to continue to help grow that women's division. So really happy to see her back. And in the end, we see Cassidy and Chuck Taylor end up making their way towards that parking lot ramp entrance. And all of a sudden, you see a car coming on. You just see the headlights, and I'm thinking, are they going to get run over at this moment? And they don't. It's Trent's mom, Sue. Sue is back, and she's so happy. She's like waving and all of that. That was really fun. So Trent comes into this, and they continue the action. Miro at one point picks up one of the large video games machines and like tosses it, and that looks pretty sick as well. And then Trent ends up spearing Miro onto a table, which looked fantastic, gruesome, good way to take the big man out. And Chuck ends up doing a running power slam through the table on Kip to win the match. And when I say that they did a lot, I only covered probably 0.01% of what they did during this match, because they really did do a lot during this match and really made for a very fun ending to an episode of AEW Dynamite. So kudos to all of those guys for this match. We have a super chat. Thank you so much to Ryan T. Yeah, Ryan. All right, he says, we went past Nyla, but given today was Trans Day of Visibility, I'm impressed they never used her identity in stories. It's remarkably unremarkable. Yeah, and I mean, I don't really know what to say, because obviously that's not something that I can speak on, but I don't know if it's something that maybe she would want to do. I don't really know. I think that would obviously be a question for Nyla to answer. So, but either way, Ryan, thank you so much for the super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it here. And we have another comment from Ryan, who says that he was very popped for the return from Chris. R. Riggs says, I wasn't excited for the match. Kip had a total of about 3 minutes in the match. It was essentially a 2-on-1. I really like seeing Chris return. I popped when we saw Drew drive up. I really liked when she came up, because all this madness is going around, right? Like, these guys are killing each other. And she comes in and she's like waving. Oh, it's adorable. I really adorable. Really adorable. And D-Train points out that get Miro out of this tag team and make him a singles killer already. Let Miro loose. Yes. Tie a ribbon around this. We done. Let's do something else with Miro. Raymond says, I love the Arcade Anarchy. What y'all know about Primal Rage? I don't know. Okay. Mark says, I snapped and Chris Statlander came out. Great moment. But if this leads to Miro just becoming a killer, did we really need this long program to get there of just being a killer right away? Oh, it was a long program. I'll agree with you on that. Forsaken Productions also says something similar. It says, I didn't have high expectations for Arcade Anarchy, but it far exceeded them. Loved it, and definitely one of the best feel-good endings in a long time with the big group hug and the thumbs up to Sue. Exactly. Really. All right. Apparently Primal Rage is a great game. Okay, good to know. So I didn't know that. I don't know anything about video games, guys. For reals. No idea. Completely clueless on video games. All right. Let's do this, guys. So after this, that's it. That was AEW Dynamite. We had a really solid episode of AEW Dynamite. So now, before we jump into NXT, I do want to remind you all that if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel here on F4W Online. Please make sure to subscribe, whether you're listening to the show on the audio version or watching the live stream. Subscribe. The channel is growing more and more each and every single day. And hopefully you guys get to see me more on here. We'll see. So yeah. All right, let's move on to NXT. So I kind of want to talk about a couple of things on NXT, to be honest. There wasn't a lot that I really had to say. I mainly want to go over some of the main points that I want to talk about. Really quickly, I'm going to answer this question from D-Train, who says, what's your live schedule next week, Denise? I'm sure you will be a busy Salcedo Mania week. Guys, I don't even know what's going on for me WrestleMania week. There's a lot of things that are changing right now or gonna be changing soon in my life. So like, I'm literally just trying to like, I don't even know, guys. I don't even know. Just stay tuned. Like seriously, follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, or mainly Twitter, because that's where I'll make like any announcements. But like with NXT moving to Tuesdays, I have no idea what's going on. Really, I don't. So, and with all the events in WrestleMania, I mean, I'm literally just taking everything day by day. So that's all you need to know. All right, guys, NXT time. So let's kick things off. I want to start talking about, what do I want to talk about here? All right. I'm actually going to start talking about the Santos Escobar issuing an open challenge. He basically comes out and he says that he represents 100 years of tradition. I want to talk about Santos Escobar because I really do think that, you know, I've said this so many times and so many of you guys know this already, but he has just so much potential and there's so much to do there with him that has been completely, he's been doing so much, but it could get bigger and better and just continue growing, right? But he talks about the cruiserweight division, him being, he says he's the best cruiserweight champion in the history of NXT. He says that this division belongs to him and that it runs through his blood and it runs through his veins and this and that. Tyler Breeze actually opens his open challenge, and I gotta say, I like this. I thought it felt like a fresh feel to have this matchup. I thought that Tyler Breeze came out here like 100 miles. He was working this like 100 miles per hour. He was very, you can tell he was very much trying to impress people in this match, and it really came through and it really showed here. So I did like all of this. Afterwards, MSK, so Santos Escobar wins. Then MSK comes out and literally runs out Legado del Fantasma. So I did like this. I thought this was really good. Overall, I think the main theme of NXT today was really that they just did a fantastic job at getting you even more excited for a lot of the matches that are coming up at NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. On paper, you look at Stand and Deliver and you're already excited just based off the names and who's working against who and all of that. But today, they really made you, they moved forward each and every single feud in a positive way, where there wasn't anything that I can say, oh, I wish they didn't do that, or that wouldn't have worked. Nah, I thought they did a really good job on all of this across the board. One of the other things that I want to talk about is the I was going to say Rory. Oh my gosh. Brandon Charles Powell sends in a super chat, says, so it seems like Io keeps trying to take on Raquel, but keeps getting beat down. Makes me think Io is winning at TakeOver. I didn't know better. I have no idea. I want to see Raquel win. Really, really. I want to see Raquel win. I don't know who's going to win. I know that it was everything that they did with Raquel and Io here tonight was on point. It was better than I could have expected. They kept it going throughout the show, and I'll get there when we talk about it, but I do have to say that I loved everything that they did with Raquel and Io. But seriously, I was about to say Rory because I was reading Raquel's name and Zoe's name at the exact same time. But Raquel versus Zoe Stark. So first of all, I know that Zoe Stark does not win this match, okay? But aside from her not winning this match, I think that they've done a good job at really just putting her, she's been up against some of the very best on NXT the last several weeks. She's been paired up with these people. She's been against these people, and they've established her very well on that end of things where you can see that she can actually go with the very best women on the NXT roster, but they obviously haven't been giving her any wins. She does need to get wins. Now here, she didn't need to just because Raquel really is the one that has to get the win, considering that she's going into this match with Io Shirai. But nonetheless, I hope Zoe Stark starts picking up some wins very, very soon. But either way, what I want to talk about with this match is that post-match, Io Shirai runs out and she goes at it with Zoe. She goes at it with Raquel. So Io Shirai and Raquel go at it. But this isn't it though. This starts off what we end up seeing throughout the rest of the night. Throughout the rest of the night, we see this happen. So during an interview with Raquel and Mackenzie, Io comes out and attacks her from behind, and Raquel literally ends up putting her through a dang wall. And that spot was so impressive. I mean, it looks sick, especially, I don't know, it was Raquel's power, Io's size, the way that wall just like smashed, it just smashed, all right? Smashed. All right. We just see Io go straight through it. All right. That was really, really impressive. And even then, when I thought that was over, we ended up seeing it later on the show. So I'll fast forward. So later on in the show, Io Shirai comes out. She's pissed off about what happened. Raquel then comes out and they end up brawling all the way to end NXT. So overall, with what they did with Raquel and Io Shirai on today's show, I thought that out of like every other match coming up on NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver, this really was the one that they did so much more to really push it to that next level to get people excited, and they really needed it. I mean, Raquel came out of this looking like a monster. Io Shirai, you want to root for her. You can't help but want to root for her. Now, am I rooting for her in this match? No, but because I do want to see Raquel as champion. But either way, I think as a whole, I think a lot of people are rooting for Io Shirai. Or maybe I could be wrong on that. I don't know. But let's see. We have a comment from Matthew who says, ding dong, hello, Denise. Io and Raquel fighting all night was so amazing. The go home match really truly made it unpredictable. I can't wait for the match next Wednesday. I can't wait. And this one is from Joseph, who goes, Io and Raquel were building great because it's main event night one of their Mania. And let's see. Mark actually says that they gave Zoe way too much. Come on, Raquel needs to be more dominant going into TakeOver. She does need to be dominant, but I thought it was perfectly fine because they really kept it going the entire night. I think given everything that they had Raquel do for the night, really just overshadowed anything else. It really did. After this, we had a really, really good, I agree with this actually. This is a comment from Matthew Mead who says, NXT does so well when building up people for the pay-per-view, for the takeovers. Yeah, I agree with Matthew on this comment as well. And okay, so speaking of building things up, I was already excited and already looking forward to Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly at Stand and Deliver. But this promo video that they did, I thought was really awesome. I mean, Cole talks about how the Undisputed Era was essentially holding him back, says that Kyle was the one that really made him realize that. They share these photos, they share these memories. I mean, this really, and I tweeted this out, and I have to say it again, this felt like I was getting ready to watch a movie. Like this was a trailer to this movie that I was going to be watching. And I thought that out of all the promo packages that we saw tonight on both shows, this one took the money. The Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly one was really, really phenomenal. Like if you didn't watch NXT and you're just listening to this review, seriously, go back and watch this promo because, dude, it was good. They did a lot and it really summarized everything and gave so much more and added so much depth and so much more story to this already solid story. So they really did add a lot more to this. So if let's just say you're that one person that was randomly not looking forward to this match, I think that this promo package, this video package really was a thing to get you excited for that. Speaking of, we had a quick little teaser video. So on April 13th, which is the first NXT on Tuesday nights, we making its debut. They put a little dog running, a little dog, and we just see some pink boots. That's all we see. That's obviously going to be Taya, but it looks like she's going to be, they announced that she'll be debuting on April 13th. So that should be pretty fun. After this, I do have to say this though. I really do think that considering the fact that she's going to be debuting on the first Tuesday show, I really do hope that they establish her as a big deal because she is somebody that they can get away with doing that because Taya has so much. God, she has so much history behind her, so much that if they were to bring that in, I think that would be really awesome. So good stuff there. And Joseph also says that her rumored name was trademarked to be Frankie Monet. Isn't that the thing? I think that was the name of the dog that they put there. Or was it the name of the dog? I don't know. All right. All right. Let's see. Where was I at? Okay. So after this, we had a Ciampa promo, really good. Again, like I said, a lot of promos today to really move forward a lot of stuff. Ciampa basically comes out and he talks about the criticism that people have to say about him. I thought this was great, especially because earlier on, in an earlier promo, Walter basically says that Ciampa is a shell of who he used to be. So I thought that this tied into that very, very nicely. And I'll read this comment from Mark who says, Walter is the best thing on either show. Everything he does, anything, even basic offensive moves, looks like it could be believable with the finish. Not just a finishing move, how things should be. Joseph says, I'm surprised Taya for real is in NXT. She's so freaky good that she could be bypassed to the main roster and succeed on her ring skills. Yeah, and she was one of those people that I thought, well, if they're going to go ahead and have her, they were just going to have her go, let's say, if they were going to have anybody just go directly to the main roster, I could have definitely seen them do that with Taya. And okay, so after this, we also had a Finn Cross promo package, which was good too. Then we had the Gauntlet Eliminator Qualifying Tournament Battle Royal. This was really just a match. There wasn't anything here, to be honest, that really stood out for me. But the order of the final 6 men that are eliminated essentially determined the entry order for the Gauntlet Eliminator match on night 1 of Stand and Deliver, with obviously the winner facing Johnny Gargano on night 2. This got very complicated, guys, by the way. Anyway, so really what you guys need to know is that the order of this is going to be 1 Leo Ruff, 2 Isaiah Swerve Scott, 3 Bronson Reed, 4 Cameron Grimes, 5 Dexter Lumis, and 6 LA Knight. I'm not really looking forward to it. This is one of the, I think out of all the matches, I'm looking forward to so many other stuff on the card. This is probably one of the ones that I'm not looking forward to as much, but either way, it was there. It wasn't the greatest way to end the show, so I'm glad. I mean, in terms of the last match on the show, so I'm actually glad that they ended it off with that Io Shirai Raquel brawl. I thought that was the best way to really close out NXT. All right, guys. Oof. That was a lot to talk about, especially with both shows. Pretty soon, I will only be talking about 1, which makes me very, very excited. I cannot wait to do that. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the show, Speak Now Pro Wrestling, each and every single week. You guys have truly been awesome, 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 awesome. Whether you're listening to this on the audio or watching on live or watching the replay, whatever, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to follow me on Twitter or on Instagram @_ Denise Salcedo. On Twitter, I am almost at 20K and I'm trying to get there before my birthday, which is in like 50 something days. So if you guys can help me out there, I need 2,300 followers to get to 20K. So that is the mission. But keep an eye out because I will be announcing what shows I'm doing for WrestleMania weekend, how all of that is going to work. I will be tweeting all of that information out there. Again, do not forget to subscribe to F4W Online here on YouTube. And other than that, I'll see you guys next week for episode 28 of Speak Now Pro Wrestling. Love you all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.